Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. We need to talk about Dave Allen. Gotta say, I'm a little bit concerned about his future prospects. I just think that where things are headed with him, it won't be good for his health and well-being. We've just seen him go life and death with an Argentinian journeyman, and it's not so much that is the issue. There's a number of things that are going on here that I do worry for Dave Allen and his welfare. Remember, this is a guy just several months ago that was talking retirement. He was talking about getting headaches after facing Tony Yoka, and he was looking to hang up the gloves. He wasn't doing well mentally, and then out of nowhere he got that Nick Webb knockout, and that really has sort of hit the Dave Allen hype train into overdrive. And what we've been seeing is this constant building of his profile, and we've been hearing how Eddie Hearn wants to build him back up and do it the right way. Yet we're back to the same old, let's fill Dave Allen on a card. Let's get him here like a novelty act, sell a few tickets. You know, everyone loves Dave Allen. Let's get him on there. There'll be some more interest. It'll help with the card. And I just don't see, and I'm going to go through this in depth, but I just don't see how that's going to help him and his career, especially when, and have a look at this on screen. So Allen himself is saying after this performance against Bracamonte, this is on the Bellew and Usyk undercard, where he was fighting with Bracamonte, life and death. It was a really fun fight. I gotta say, it was an entertaining fight. But after that, he's saying he has 2 perforated eardrums, 2 cuts, but he plans on fighting on the 8th of December and the 22nd of December. So that's on a Kell Brook card, and the second one is the Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora pay-per-view. And he's saying that those injuries are perforated eardrum and 2 cuts, nothing major. So Dave Allen, he's already fought 6 times this year. He's just had this ding-dong battle with a journeyman that prior to that fight said if it goes more than 1, you know, he'd be concerned. He said, look, I need to get this guy out of here, deal with him, and then on to the next one. But he didn't. He ended up taking an extreme amount of punishment. Then again, so did Bracamonte. He came better than advertised, but statements like this, I've got a perforated eardrums, 2 cuts, but I plan on fighting on the 8th and the 22nd, nothing major. That is really concerning. I don't believe he's actually putting his welfare, you know, his welfare and his best interest at heart. Remember, this was a guy, as I said, was looking to quit a number of months ago, and he says now that he's had the second chance, he wants to do it the right way. Yet Eddie Hearn is allowing him to fight 3 times in 6 weeks. And before people say, oh, you're getting on Eddie Hearn here, it is Eddie Hearn who can have some influence on this. Sure, Dave Allen is saying he wants to keep the gambling and other addictions at bay. But look what he's doing. He's addicted to these pay-per-view cards. He's addicted to getting on all these shows. This is another addiction that he's got. He's addicted to the attention, the bright lights, you know, he's addicted to all the bells and whistles. And this is what we're seeing here. His profile has been going up and up and up. And now he's wanting to fight all the time. How does that gel with what he was saying about wanting to train properly, wanting to do it the right way, wanting to build up to a big fight, prove that he could actually box at a really good level? When he's having these, you know, real ding-dong battles with Argentine journeymen, gassing after 3 or 4 rounds, because let's face it, he didn't look that great in there after a few rounds. Sure, he was dictating some of the action, but Bracamonte was having more than a little bit of success in there. He was clipping Allen pretty consistently. Allen took a lot of punishment in there, and obviously perforated eardrums and a couple of cuts. I mean, what is Dave Allen doing, honestly? And I'm sure there's going to be some people saying, well, it's his life, he can do whatever he wants. But I would just bring it back to, he says he wants to do it the right way. How is 3 cards in 6 weeks the right way, especially considering where he's come from? With his depression, with his lack of training, with these injuries, and if he really is serious, shouldn't he fold up the tent for 2018, decide to go, okay, I'll target a fight, I'll tell Eddie I want to be in a fight earlier in the new year, put me on a card, and then I will train towards that, give me something to aim for. Obviously he wants to keep the window short to, you know, the 8th and the 22nd because of his own personal demons or whatever, but How is that looking after himself? But there seems to be this sort of circle or the cycle where the more he's fighting, the more he's getting this attention, the more he wants to keep doing it, regardless of whether it's good for him health-wise, career-wise, because ultimately, you can't have too many more fights like this because he didn't look that great in there. The fitness was terrible. And on the basis of that, you go, actually, Dave Allen looked pretty limited. He was just looking for that right hand again. There wasn't a lot of finesse. He wasn't relying on a lot of skills. Really, he was looking for his chin to take the punches that he was receiving and to try, do the damage with his right hand. And that was effectively the strategy. And by about round 4, round 5, both those guys, they were megally gassed. So I would wonder, just by the 8th, is he really going to be able to improve his fitness to a level to go through a 10-rounder? You'd have to wonder. But in terms of the healthy, even through these comments, have a rest, Dave, and come back 100% after a proper camp. Can't keep slogging like that. Go all at it. Dave, man, recover. Perforated eardrums are serious injuries and need proper care. Love your spirit, but think of yourself more than the crowds. I love watching you and you're funny. Likeable mush, but put yourself first, not the crowd or not the fans. And that's a really good comment because he does seem addicted. He's, past one addiction for another by the look of it, that he's addicted to these events. He likes the novelty of being this guy who's been on 6 pay-per-view events now, soon to be 7 December the 22nd. And that's the thing. Is it really healthy for him, his career, everyone involved? I was actually concerned about some comments Eddie Hearn had made the other day. I actually spoke about this on my Patreon. Eddie Hearn, speaking to IFL TV in regards to Dave Allen, talked about the 3 fights in 6 weeks. Talked about doing it better this time. But really, are they doing it better? Because some of what Eddie Hearn was saying in terms of, Dave Allen is now a movement, some of the comments came across as more, we're going to monetize him properly this time. This guy is a movement in himself, very popular on social media. People are talking about him. Iron Brew, you've got Babe Station talking about him. You've got other people referring to him. He's got a big social media following. But with all that being said, some of the comments came across as, yeah, well, if we can milk this guy for all we can, get him to add some value to our cards, we will. So how is that really helping him? Because if they're really committed to him, wouldn't they be helping him, proper camps, not sort of called in at 2 weeks' notice for a fight? Because that was the same situation that didn't work before it. And it didn't work. And how is it going to work this time around? It just kind of feels like we're back to the future. The same cycle is starting to repeat. I know Allen doesn't like to have these breaks between his fights, but if he is really going to make use of the second chance, surely he's got to do it the right way. Some of the hype and the success that is following him now, through the UK, through social media, throughout the world, that will all go away if he starts losing. He's got onto a nice little run here. He can continue that run, but if he's not training properly and if he's, going into fights now injured, because within a month, because that fight is slightly less than a month, those injuries, he could very easily re-injure it. He may not be 100% by then. Like this guy here says, take proper care. We've got another guy here, take the rest of the year off. There will be plenty of cards for the White Rhino in 2019. Gives you 4 weeks, clearly a reaction from someone pissed off about their performance, but you need a full camp, not 4 weeks. Recover. And then obviously you've got Jonah Hill here with the, stop it motion. Come back fitter and stronger, as he says. Pull stumps for the rest of the year. Obviously not everyone in here in the comments is sort of saying that, but there is a large degree of that. My initial reaction when I saw that was, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. And what is Dave Allen going to achieve by fighting some of these guys that he's going to be fighting? Because on the 8th of December, from what his plans are, it's going to be another fight where, he should win it. And sure, he got the win against Bracamonte, but look how hard he had to fight to get that. He took a huge amount of punishment. And if he takes another lot of punishment on the 8th of December, and then he's in the ring 2 weeks later, come on, health and well-being of a fighter, Eddie Hearn should have that as a paramount concern. So, I do have some concerns that Eddie Hearn is sort of thinking, okay, we've got these cards, we need to fill them out. And this is what Dave Allen's become. He's become this novelty pay-per-view sort of card filler. People like watching him fight, people like him, but the fights aren't always that great. I mean, in terms of the opposition, obviously in terms of the action they are, but in terms of his career, I mean, what does Bracamonte do for his career? Does that really advance him? All it does is leave a smile on the face of some in the venue and on TV, watching at home. So you have to wonder, fighting the Bracamontes of the world, where is that getting Dave Allen? Nowhere. They're meant to be working this guy towards some form of domestic title. But fighting the Bracamontes of the world, what does that do? That gets you injured, and you take a lot of punishment, and then you're looking to fight in 4 weeks' time, when you just showed that you didn't really have the fitness to fight 10 rounds. You're probably not going to, do much better in a month's time, let alone 6 weeks' time, when you're due to fight for a third time in 6 weeks. I just kind of think it's a little bit mad what's going on. I'm going to conclude the rant there, but what do you make of it all? Should Dave Allen actually pull stumps for the year, look after himself, his well-being, get well, heal the perforated eardrums, let the cuts heal, get in the gym, get some fitness, get a proper camp under his belt and aim for something big in early 2019. Like someone said in the comment, there will be big fights to the White Rhino in 2019. Big fights for him, but he should be expecting more than just the Bracamontes of the world. Because if that's his lot now, well, okay. If that's what he's happy to go with, but this talk of making the most of the second chance, if he really wants to make the most of it, do it right, because I don't believe he is. And I think some commercial considerations, the addiction to being in front of these big crowds, getting people singing to him, the hype, the hoopla, under the lights, all that sort of stuff, I do believe that is influencing what he's doing here. I don't think it's healthy. I worry for Dave Allen. What about you? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.